had challenged the state of West Virginia on some of the things that have been a derelict of duty, obstruction of justice, a cover-up in general by I think the judge, the state, and undoubtedly, the governor himself, all the way from the state house to the House House, there has been some form of cover-up in this case. We do have a special guest tonight, Sister Precious Echols, seeking justice for her father. We have online our National Minister of Justice, the Honorable Dr. Critical Race Truth Bey, and all of our regular hosts and others are online or coming online. And we're just happy to be here at yet another episode of Black Power Radio. We'll be turning the controls momentarily over to Dr. Critical Race Truth Bey, who will actually conduct an interview with John Kemet, Shabazz, and our beloved Sister Precious Echols. So we'd like to welcome you all and give you greetings of peace and salutation to all that are on board tonight on this our special episode of Black Power Radio. Thank you again for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Sheik Imam Akbar Abdul Kareem. Welcome, everyone. That's your tonight. Okay. Okay, Dr. Shabazz, if you'd like to open and give us some of your take on some of the peculiarities of this case.
Yes. First of all, in the introduction, I want to give thanks to the Almighty. I want to give thanks to the ancestors. Thanks to the special people in my life, which would include my grandparents and my parents. I want to give thanks to Precious Echols for taking time out to do the November 4th, 2023 rally, as well as her family for standing up at that time along with the local people. But to be quick in that, I want to be able to first and foremost state that I am John Kemet Shabazz L. I am the founder, spokesperson for Souls for Justice. This work initially was done as part of the extension work that I do as Black Community Coalition Acting National Attorney. I was held accountable. The name of this space is Accountability Council. I felt the pressure of accountability because of the national position that I attained in 2007, working on the Megan Williams hate crimes march that was precedent setting. Imam, Akbar, Shabazz, New Black Panther Party membership helped make that a success and set me precedent. So I was called to respond to that case, and that happened down in Charleston. Okay, I ended up getting an assignment. This case happens to happen 15 miles from where I live. And at first, and I'm gonna be quick, and I'm trying to be quick as possible. At first, in my analysis of this, I went and checked to see what local people were saying about this when it happened. To give a chronology of it, happened on July 30th, 2023. That's when Charles Duddy Echols was killed. He's known in the neighborhood as Duddy. I knew him in passing. Okay, my understanding is that the brother, he was a basketball referee. Okay, no one had anything bad to say about him at all on both sides. Okay, and this is I'm gonna get quickly to the chronology of it happened in July, and I wrestled with it, hoping that also members of the community wrestled with it, hoping that there was going to be an arrest. We heard a lot of scuttlebutt gossip, nothing substantiated until we got information from the media. The local newspaper reported on his death like about 3 days after they reported on his death. No one was arrested, and that was the thing that we were all waiting on. Okay. At some point, I contacted the national attorney seeking advice, and I was told that at that time that we should move now. If we wait, it's going to give them some time to hide evidence. to the family and to the community, because I considered myself, even though I'm from that community, I considered myself living here in this area, 15 miles away, that was a community thing, and I would be stepping out of place always along with everybody else. It was a tough wait, 3 months, because it was a hard sleep. And accountability has me here today because on October 19th, 2023, I was moved to start a new formation and call it Souls for Justice and file a online petition demanding transparency and arrest of the people that killed him. I had got some initial information from contacting a reporter named Fernando Esteban Fernandez, worked for the local West Virginia Times newspaper. He was the first one that gave me the state's narrative, which included, according to him, a self-defense claim. There was a fight, it was broke up, and he went back at him a second time. And he shot an unarmed man, and no one was arrested. It was difficult to digest at that time, okay? And I spouted off a lot of rage as a result of it. That's just the way I am. We can't let people get killed and nothing be done about it, okay? So I kept an eye on what was going on. Some of the people in our neighborhood, let me be clear on saying this, the people, we've suffered gentrification. And the people in various communities that may have responded to something like this at one time are not there. Because I was held accountable and received the National Acting Post as a result of my work on the hate crimes case. I had to respond to this because I was held accountable. I didn't do it, but I'm held accountable to do something about it and make sure he gets justice. Okay? So here we are in October 2023. That gets filed very quickly. People start signing on. Within a month's time, we had 100 signatures. And the reporter showed more confidence in terms of relaying information. November 4th, Precious does the rally. She drives back from... Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear, sir. Black Power.
And you're live on Black Power Radio.
Always. Yeah, you brother clearly. Let me continue. November 4th, Precious drives back from North Carolina. I initially don't plan on going over, okay? Because that's not my affair. Even though I'm from there, I'm not over there any longer. Let local people deal with that. I didn't want to be overreaching myself. However, someone from the local did call me and asked me to come over. Shout out to that brother. I'm not going to say his name, but he called me and asked me to come over because I do the Juneteenth every year. We had been doing it in Fairmont for the last 10 years, okay? And we're very proud of the work that we've done with the Juneteenth over there, but I'll get to that later. So we do the rally with Precious. We get about 50 people. Esteban Fernandez does the direct interview with Precious and some of the people that are there. The newspaper puts us on the front page, okay? We get played from the local newspaper as a result of the reporter. He's young Hispanic dude, okay? I just not giving him any props. He's just doing his job, and he's not brainwashed to go along with he's not brainwashed to get on code. Bottom line, because that's what we have here. If you let me get the rest of this out. So we do the rally. After the rally, the report is done in the newspaper. The prosecutor responds for the first time. He gives us a whiny, lame excuse. He says there couldn't nobody be arrested. The investigation is ongoing. As if they were still looking for the people that done this. Which I thought it created false appearance. And I didn't say anything about it at that time. At the rally, we did say, specifically myself and others, that there should be an arrest, if not an arrest. Actions, probable cause should be raised before the grand jury. So we challenged the prosecutor at that time, verbally, openly, okay, to bring charges as individuals and as collectives. Okay, we just didn't talk about it. Thanks to Precious, we was actually about it, and it's on the record. So after the article is done, prosecutor comes out being a little bit more transparent, but still doesn't say nothing. He keeps trying to run a whiny excuse. Upon referral, we get a national activist to write a letter to the prosecutor, and I'm not going to say that national activist's name, but he does his job and does that. We also wanted that activist to come in and do a press conference, but we have to pay his expenses, so some fundraising had to be done. Okay. Fast forward, I still am tired of waiting, but we've gotten to about 400, close to 500 signatures on the online petition by now. Okay, this is in. Now we waited a couple of days. The prosecutor has had a number of different indictment terms. He has two different indictment terms to indict, and he has. So it's clear to us that he's not going to indict. Matter of fact, there's conversations with him, and he indicates that we're still waiting, going along with what he doesn't give us the details, but he says he's going along with what was said, the narrative that was put forth by the killers. As soon as we hear that, we object to it. Okay. But he has a long history of hearing our objections to no one being arrested. Okay. So let me be clear. April 1st, I filed the application on behalf of Precious and the family under Souls for Justice to present to a Marion County grand jury in June on the homicide murder of Charles Echols III. What I did is I went in the code and got the section of the code and quoted it and quoted the facts of the case as we knew them and used exhibits. The exhibits that we used were the articles from Esteban Fernandez, as well as the letter from the national activist. And I wrote a letter myself, Souls for Justice. I say myself, as a spokesperson, founder of Souls for Justice, I wrote a letter on behalf to the prosecutor, on behalf of the Echols family, urging an arrest, urging transparency, urging presentation to the grand jury. We didn't get any response on any of that. I included that information in the application. And once the application was filed, we got a hearing. We got a judge, the appointment of a judge. In the application, I requested the appointment of an attorney because this was a life and liberty interest demanding counsel. But an attorney, a judge was appointed. That judge was Patrick Wilson. He set up an in-camera hearing. I went to that in-camera hearing. We got inside. Patrick Wilson excluded everyone from the room and said, "No one will be here." Are you still hearing me loud and clear?
That's right.
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Judge Wilson does that again, under state law in this state, you can access a grand jury, but in Marion County, they hold what they call an in-camera hearing first. I think it's something specific that county does. But long story short, I go through the procedure. I tell the prosecutor to his face that he has more than what other prosecutors have. I rebut the notion of there being, he used castle doctrine, which is a doctrine that stand your ground doctrine, or a doctrine that talks about a man's castle is his home. We rebutted that. When I say I was there in there by myself, but I rebutted that by saying that castle doctrine does not apply, because castle doctrine, if it did apply, would go to the actual homeowner. The killer was a guest of the homeowner. So castle doctrine, he stood mute on that. And no one was there to witness it. All the more need for an attorney, because they try to get you behind closed doors and stuff. One of the important things that I must do is get the transcript of that hearing. But after that, I came out. Gary Freeman was there. He was excluded. That was the grandfather of Precious Echols. He was to be there to testify. I need to jump back and say, before the hearing, there was a May 3rd meeting with the family and the prosecutor, which I was a part of. And I won't discuss the specific details, but the prosecutor admitted at that time that he had direct evidence of the killer. And just, I don't want to say what he said, but he has direct evidence that would qualify, that is justified to be presented to a grand jury. I won't say what it is, but if you press me, I might have already said it. But this is where we're at. We're at this now. We had the first hearing. I filed an application telling the judge to make a decision on whether we was going to get access to the grand jury. Right now, based on the evidence that's already available, probable cause existed, so we don't need to wait on the autopsy report. The autopsy report of the killing has not arrived yet. It's been close to a year. They claim COVID. They claim not enough professionals. They claim that it's a national problem. I checked into it, and there's some evidence that it is a national problem. But it's an unusual long amount of time to get an autopsy report. But where we're at now is that judge, I accuse the judge of holding a bias hearing because he excluded people and did 5 points of bias. He recused himself, disqualified himself, which is an admission of bias. So another judge has been appointed, and I've asked that judge, taking up on one judge admitting bias, I've asked the new judge to either appoint counsel, I'm going to give it over to, I've asked the new judge to either appoint counsel and issue a transcript of the May 22nd hearing, or voluntarily recuse himself. Okay, so it's already in the paperwork. It's saying we're waiting on it. They're going through grand jury over there in that area right now, so I'm waiting on that. That's what we have a hearing set for August the 2nd, 2024, a part 2. I've said I don't want to do it. Enough has been said already, okay? But if he appoints an attorney, I'll do the August 2nd, 2024. That's the next day for it. I'm going to yield the floor and let, because I want Precious to spend some time talking about, I want her to talk about Charles Duddy Echols, because the prosecutor has attempted to make Charles Echols a burglar, and that is not the case. And at worst, he could be a trespass, at worst. But he's attempting to defend against he's attempting to defend the killers in doing it because it felonizes Charles Echols, and it justifies the killing of an unarmed man. See, Charles Echols, I'm going to be quiet after this. Charles Echols really is the lover of Leanne Chacon. He gets access legally and lawfully because he comes in, according to my understanding, and no one has rebutted it, prosecutor himself, he comes in through the garage passcode that he has. And so these people need to be put on the stand and pressed. If they get castle doctrine, if they get any self-defense claim, they better be able to prove that at trial. Okay. So we have raised a legitimate claim. I gotta yield the floor and let me back up a little bit.
Actually, we wanted to get a background. Thank you again for coming on Black Power Radio to rectify the justice for Charles Duddy Echols III. For those who may not know, we're going to play back a video of the news of how Mr. Echols, minding his business in Fairfax, Marion County, was killed in the early mornings of July 30th in his own home by the race soldiers, Marion County Sheriff's Department, that we all know too well. And so we thank you, John Kemet Shabazz, and daughter Precious Echols, for being here and sharing your story.
Marion County Sheriff's Office has identified a Fairmont man who was killed in a shooting early Sunday morning.
Authorities say Charles Echols III was killed at a home on Lincoln Way. Officials report he was shot just after midnight. Now, details are limited at this time. The sheriff's office is actively investigating and are still working to learn more. Anyone with information about the shooting is asked to contact police.
And this is one of many news coverage. They say they're still investigating.
It's offensive under me at this point, after having come this far and worked this way. It's offensive under me. I'm gonna leave it.
Yes, sir. And so we'd like to welcome to Black Power Radio Miss Precious Marion Pauline Echols, the daughter of the beloved Charles Echols III, who race soldiers decided to take his body, but his soul is still here with us. Thank you and welcome to Black Power Radio.
Thank you. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about, yes, the mark that your father left in the community? Who was Charles Echols III?
Yes. My dad was a very loving, caring person, very involved in the community. As John said, he did help coach basketball, football, and he helped with baseball. He also worked for the EMS as well. And he also was the community grass cutter. A lot of people knew him. He was a big help to the community.
Yes, ma'am. And so can you tell us the morning of, when did you first hear this tragic news that happened?
Yes. I actually moved from West Virginia, so I'm out of state, but I did get a call. And when I heard about it, it was very shocking, especially him and Leanne. They had been in a long-term relationship, and they had broke up, but they were still seeing each other often. So it was just really surprising to hear that happened, and to hear them try to make him the aggressor as well is very surprising because he just wasn't that type of person. And when we found out that there was weapons on both Leanne and I believe his name was Michael Costello was the other guy. And my dad didn't have any weapon on him, which to me also shows he didn't go there for any type of altercation. So it's just very... I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, absolutely. We just wanted to get an idea of what was the reason why the Marion County Sheriff was there to begin with, assaulting innocent bystanders.
Well, I guess I can speak to that because I think that deals with the chronology of the case. And first, hold on. I appreciate you for speaking because we're going to have to do this kind of thing. As I understand, and this came out at the rally, November 3rd rally in 2023, that initially the Whitehall, we don't have confirmation on this. That's why we needed an investigator and attorney. But initially the Whitehall police went out, as far as I understand, and they said it was murder. I put this in my application. Okay, well, all the more reason asking for an attorney to help investigate that claim. Okay, but when the Marion County Sheriff's Department arrived, they interviewed Chacon and Costello, detained Costello for a period of time, interviewed. They were apparently, this is before we know as much as we know now. Apparently, as a result of the interview with the Marion County Sheriff's Department, they gathered evidence that substantiated their self-defense. When have you ever heard of the police accepting the testimony of the killer and he gets self-defense up front? Never. I haven't. I think so to me, I'm kind of thinking about it. I have to watch myself about it. But we have the facts to be able to prove our case, okay? And what they have done is they've worked in obfuscation and hiding obfuscation, meaning they're distorting and spinning stuff, reinterpreting the kind of stuff that we as Black people have a conscious always have to come in contact with. So I want to get Precious back on the line. Excuse me, Precious, because I didn't want to take your time. This is your time to speak. Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
In terms of, your dad did the basketball. That's what I heard about. The fact that he was a referee for the basketball game. A lot of people remember. The prosecutor himself said he said he had heard about him in terms of him being a referee. There's even a video out with your dad, where the international community, the Arabic Muslims, they did a video in commemoration to your father and put him on the national referees list, okay, when they heard about this. So we got international support too. It just has to be worked up. Okay? I appreciate you tonight for coming on the air with this pressure.
Yes, thank you.
Did anybody else in your family say they would be willing to come on the air?
I think tomorrow when we do the next part, my mom should be able to attend, and maybe my grandpa.
Okay, now that would be wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
But y'all still tuned in for that, right? We'll get the show back to Sister Truth Bey. Getting your show back, sir.
No, it's your show. I mean, this is why we're here. There's too many injustices that's been happening. Assaults without accountability. Just lately, we have Lavelle Lane, Queen Mother Beverly Reese's son that was killed by Spartanburg Detention Center, as well as many other cases of police brutality. And we are so saddened to hear such a beloved man of the community that wanted to do well by the community. It's just, life was not mattering to this local jurisdiction. So we're going to keep a good scrutiny and open eyes of seeing what's happening in West Virginia. We'd like to know a little bit more about the governance there. Jim Justice, has he ever reached out to the family in this case? But Precious, we want to say thank you for taking the step again, for sharing your story on the needs and justice that we need to find for your father.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
Again, President, this is Sheik and Akbar. We just wanted to give you just a special thanks for being here tonight, but again, for having courage to live out the courage of your own convictions and a self-determination for justice. And I think that the God of all the worlds and all understanding, all comprehension understands that the natural urge for justice when we feel that we the people, a grave injustice has been carried out against we the people, and we're here to support you and your network to whatever end to bring about the justice that so much desired by I know you and your family to receive such a shocking news of the execution of your father. So we're on standby at all times, and if there's anything at all that we can do to further support you in your efforts to arrive at justice, then we're certainly here. Sheik Imam Akbar, Dr. Truth Bey, Brother Black Lightning, Brother K. DeWalt, Brother New World Warrior, Brother Ty, that came out of South Carolina on that case with Queen Mother Beverly Reese, is also at your availability. She's our national spiritual advisor, the mother of Lavelle Lane. So I just wanted to extend our thanks and gratitude and to know that you're not in this fight alone, that there are many here that are with us, supporting us, that also support you, that could not make it to the line tonight. So with that said, we will turn those controls back over to our National Minister of Justice, Dr. Truth Bey. Assalamu alaikum and Black Power.
Power to the people. What is it like in Marion County? What type of demographics is in that area? Tell us.
Okay, I can give you that because I'm gonna have to do it again and again. Marion County is about, I say it's about an hour south 79 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Fairmont is the county seat. if you're in D.C., you're talking about a 3-hour drive on 68 West. It's 3 hours north of Charleston, West Virginia, which is the state capital. Wheeling, I'm giving you all the little cities around it. Wheeling, West Virginia, is about, I'd say about an hour and 45 minutes away. So I try to give you, it's in north central West Virginia. Marion County would be the beginning of the Monongahela River, which actually I use that in doing the Juneteenth because we had problems with the city of Fairmont using its name during the Juneteenth. So I come up with the Monongahela. So we call it the Upper Monongahela because that's what it actually is. It's the beginning of the Monongahela River that flows north to Pittsburgh. So geographically, Fairmont is actually spiritually it's an important spot because there's a confluence that begins the Monongahela, then it goes up to Pittsburgh, and another confluence forms the Ohio River. You know, people in the area they don't. Some people don't really recognize how important it is, but geographically it is important. So I'm giving you about as much as I could give you that it's in north central West Virginia. In terms of the black population, over the years it's fluctuated. The state of West Virginia has about 65,000 black people throughout the state. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Now Marion County specifically, I'd say that it's about maybe 8% black, with Fairmont being about 4 to 5% black. Those numbers were higher at one time, but gentrification has been devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Over 20 years, gentrification, and see, we can't talk about this without talking about the impact of gentrification if we really get into it, because it's an outgrowth of it. It's one of the outbursts of gentrification. You know?
And that's what we have to deal with nationwide.
Well, not only with the gentrification altogether, and see, that is something that we do not talk about, is what they have done to our communities altogether. Even when we go back to the crack epidemic, you know, the destruction that they have created, you know, over and over again. It's like we talk about this brother right here. It was not too long ago in Charlotte, North Carolina, that the police ran up and a brother and his wife and his child was in there and they killed him dead. He killed 4 police officers in the process of it, but they came up in his home. Day in and day out, brothers and sisters are being slaughtered. It's still going back to the same thing of the slavery or whatever. They're not hanging the noose. Now they walking up in your house, right? To think that it's okay for them to do. The thing that we need to talk about is how do we prevent this at any cost altogether? Because this killing is not going to stop. It's going to keep on going. Anytime they see a black man or a black woman stand up to do what it's supposed to be for their community, they coming for you. How do we eliminate that? We have to go with inside and go back to our culture and our history as far as what is need to be done, whether it's voodoo, spirituality, or anything else, to stop the repercussions that's coming. Do you know why they want to kill you, black man and black woman? Because, like they say in that Bible, every mouth shall confess that I am God. And they have to confess, and they have to, every knee shall bow. And that knee that they bow to is going to be you. And they don't want to bow. They don't want to bow. They want a great destruction day in and day out, all through the time. Right? Every time, trust and believe, there's a black man getting killed right now that we do not know about. And they're going to continue to kill until we put them joggers where they need to be. In the ground. They need to be dead, evaporated. Say, in dust, you come back to dust, you shall return.
You know, excuse me, sis. I'd like to say that, you know, the George Floyd, I had one of my old school grassroots sisters. She was one of the few elders that quickly called me to celebrate the fact that she seen the young people take control of the city at that time in that protest. she had kind of, because she was older, she didn't relate to rap music. But when she seen that, she seen there was hope in the young people because they put that energy to work and protest over his killing.
Well, yeah, hope is good. Just like when you play them drums, you hear that music of the vibration and you start moving. But the point is not the hope. What about the consistency? We have to constantly, day in and day out, continue to do this consistency. You got a Bay here, you got an L here, and that's my commit name, but I'm also a Bay. We have to consistently do this day in and day out. Sunrise, sunset. Still putting them boots on the ground, still doing what we have to do. And we have to day in and day out, day in and day out. We are all that we say we are. We are the all, we are the I am. And we're not going to sit down, I'm not saying anything against our brothers and sisters getting lost, but it's constantly, it's going on every day, every minute, every 3 seconds. One of our brothers and sisters is being killed.
And I'm so grateful to be here to discuss that. That's precisely why Black Power Radio and our guest today is to highlight not only loved one, but the injustice that happens upon our body every single day. Brother John, Kemet, did you have?
I do got a comment in response. The sister got that fire. This is my first time seeing that sister. And when I heard her speak, I said to myself, now I can see her speaking out in front of the courthouse and getting a couple people charged up. Because, you know, we encourage one another, and that is necessary. So it takes all different flavors for us to deal with this. This is a collective. It takes our collective work coming together and forming and agreeing. And I say agreeing, we can all agree on the fact that there needs to be an arrest in this situation. And the important thing is that we get the actual facts out to the people and let them also know about.
Well, why can't there be arrest? Can we turn around and utilize it as, Akbar, what is that called? You do community arrest or a civil arrest. Why can't you go arrest them?
Citizens arrest.
Why can't a citizen's arrest be done?
Right. If we hear the whole entire story and plan of action, we can get to that portion. Black Power.
Black Power.
Brother Shabazz?
I guess I can respond to that to the best of my knowledge. And I can reflect back to the work of Hashim and Zenga doing let's be clear, doing the Trayvon Martin. And to my understanding, Hashim and Zenga issued an arrest warrant for Trayvon Martin. It was actually Hashim and Zenga issuing an arrest warrant for Trayvon, issuing an arrest warrant for the killer.
George Zimmerman, I mean.
Yes.
In the Trayvon Martin. That's actually the thing that led the authorities to make an arrest, because the people at the point of issuing a warrant for his arrest, by arresting him, maybe they protected him. Maybe then they did protect him. Seen and issued a warrant for his arrest.
Yes.
The history of, let me be clear and say this, okay? The history of the party, the movement, I've seen results. I've seen grassroots people respond and get results. Okay, so that's why I'm here today, is because I'm making the people aware so that we can get results.
Get results. Of course we're going to get results, but the results is we have to understand what type of government we working with.
If you could tell us also, we'd like to know a little bit about the planning of the rally for Sister Precious. Like, what prompted, I know the injustices that happened, but give us a walkthrough on how that was organized and what results ended from that last rally.
Yes, and the last rally was on, again, going back to November 3rd. I was Colin Jones. I I'm gonna say his name because I asked for Cola to be on the line tonight. I don't know if he's on the line tonight or not, but he contacted me and asked me to come over specifically and bring the kind of energy you do for the Juneteenth. Because for the Juneteenth, all I know is how to facilitate an event. Anybody could be there. I encourage other people to participate, and I talk, and then I encourage other people to come up and speak their mind, and it works. Other people get encouraged from seeing someone that's not intimidated to speak publicly. You know, and you have to do that with our people. You have to set it. When I say our people, you have to set an example. As far as I'm concerned, I don't get the big head over being and having to set an example. Because if I look around, hey, look, if we're in trouble and I look around, ain't nobody else going to say anything about it. Well, I got to say something about it. I might look around and see if anybody else is going to do something. But if ain't nobody going to do nothing, I'm suffering. Man, I'm going to say something about it. And then be ready to go to war if I got to go to war. How about that? Okay. But I believe in peace. I believe in my eye.
Hey, somebody shouldn't have to sit back and wait for you to say something anyway. You know what I mean? It's a thing that if it's going on in the community, or whatever, why does somebody gotta wait for anybody to say anything? Because we are the collective in our communities. Nobody has to wait for us to say anything. The point is the thing needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When are we gonna stop begging these jokers? When are we gonna stop looking for a agreement or a paper or sit over there talking about, oh yeah, look at me, I'm better. Don't you understand it? It's the original, you are the original man. The black man is the original man. These motherfuckers is part of your lower vibration. And then you sit over there, you gotta wait for an excuse for them to do something for you. You don't wait for no excuse to do something. You should know that when you took them laws, or whatever. You don't wait for them motherfuckers to sit over there and tell you nothing. You go out there and do what you have to do. And you don't have to wait for no team. You are the team. You have a mini universe within inside of yourself. You are the God that's walking. Once you put your feet on that ground, it's done story right there.
Well, sister, you're preaching to the choir there because that's the vitality, having knowledge of that is what allows me to go over and face off against them. One individual carrying the energy of that. Okay? So I had to do that humbly because I couldn't come in there with a spear because that's not being strategic. So we also, even though we're angry, we also have to know how to cloak that anger so we can get close enough to get it.
That's right. Strategy.
Anything about anger?
If we can. We like to hear
We have to learn how to cloak that so we can get results because this is a case that evokes rage. It reminds us of our history in this country and that we haven't gotten justice.
That's right.
So with all due respect, and I have to take time out to make sure that I'm not overloaded because there's some of us that been overloaded.
If you can, brother Kemet, you took on this case. We want everyone to be clear. You took on this case, even though you're not a practicing attorney, but you took on this case because you saw that there was no real justice that was going on for Mr. Echols. Am I correct?
And as I mentioned earlier, and you're correct on that, as well as the accountability that was placed upon me when I received a national post working on the hate crimes case back in 2000. I hold the national post since 2007. Okay, as a result of that case, which set precedent in the state, because prior to that case, prosecutors were not prosecuting on hate crimes. Okay, the case itself set a precedent.
It still sounds like an approval.
Well, we have to use diplomatic means. When I say diplomatic means, adjudication. Heru was successful against Set because he used, after being counseled by Tahuti, he used adjudication. He took Set to court and proved that he was in violation of his own laws. Mm-hmm. With all of our anger and rage, and we want to chop somebody's head off, right? We really have to bring these people before the world court, before the gods, and prove they're in violation of their own law. And oftentimes, see, there's a time right now, judgment, when they're executing themselves. Okay, we have a lot of it. Okay, so I would just say, maintain my art, practice my art within oneself first, and then take that outside of oneself. I have to use it, and I do this biotic framework because I am angry. I'm enraged.
We all are, yes. Every day. It's an assault on our bodies, on our minds, on our mentality, on our children, on our fathers, our daughters, our sons. It's constantly.
No, Lord. It's right to say it. Yes, right to say it, brother. Right to say it. Right to say it. Right to say it.
Righteous fury, the kind of anger that God would have over injustice. And that's what we want to be able to claim in souls for justice. I appreciate you for standing up. Represent. One.
Right on. Absolutely. Yeah, so we got a couple of our Black Radio commentary here, and if you have your hand raised, we definitely would like you to speak. But first and foremost, we would like to hear from Charles Echols' daughter, Precious, first and foremost, on what justice she would like to see moving forward, since she did actively put a rally together in honor for justice of Charles Echols III, and we'd like to know how we can support moving forward.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
I would definitely like both arrested, both people there. I understand with the situation it may be challenging, but I do thank John and everyone for helping me even get this far with it. But I believe it is possible. I would like to see both of them arrested for the community.
Absolutely, as they should be. Has the governor, Jim Justice, reached out to the family in any capacity?
No, we haven't.
No.
I would say this about Jim Justice, right? Recently he has, for the second time, he had declared Juneteenth month for the state of West Virginia. And however, with regard to Charles Echols' case, he hadn't said anything about it. And knowledge on this case hasn't reached down to Charleston. Yeah, we've got reporting on it locally. This show is helping us. The rally that Precious did, I uploaded it to YouTube, and it helped us get a national activist on board. But in order to bring these people in to do the real press conference, where that's done professionally, we had to pay for him, okay? But this work needs to be done, okay? So bottom line is short, justice hasn't been put on notice. A letter, let me be clear and say this. A letter probably does need to be done directly to Jim Justice. I had thought about it, and I set it to the side because why? We got the application in for the circuit court, okay? Waiting on a lawyer here, okay? We got them up against the wall in the circuit. When I say up against the wall, I found the application. The judge has to either permit access or issue a finding of fact and conclusion of law why he's not, okay? That's where we're at, procedural, okay? And listen, I can sleep good at night because I feel like I've done my part, okay? I've done my part. Because we're not going to take that. We're not going to take that. However, even though I feel like this, I had to face off in front of them, behind closed doors, speak the truth to them directly. And and do it in a kind of way that was not aggressive and angry, but in a kind of way that was assertive without being aggressive.
That's right, and that's the key word, assertive without being aggressive. Pen to paper, we will write policy and law to write and practice that to really seek justice for our people.
Go ahead on preach. I like amen. Because I'm a perfect person. Sometimes the pen is more powerful than the spoken word, but you have to know how to strategically use both of them together. You always, if you're speaking, you should have a pen close by. You know, because sometimes you can be quiet and write and get more done than you can by talking. I feel you. And real quickly on writing a letter to Jim Justice would serve as specific notice and letting him know about the case specifically. You know?
Yes, I think that should be well accounted for. Now we're going to go into a little bit background of the governance of Marion County, Fairmount, and as well as the state of West Virginia. Do we have any Black Power people online that'd like to chime in on some comments? Precious, if you'd like for us, again, to know how the public can help and assist you in your next course of action, please let us know.
I think maybe she's off. She may have gotten off.
She said, "Can we?"
Yes.
I think I'm just going in and out. Yes. Even with the next protest, I am trying to organize another one. This was all new to me. This is something, of course, I never expected to have to go through. But right now, another protest, I think, would help. And any, ideas or anything would be helpful on that. And what you guys mentioned earlier, the letter to Jim Justice, that's something I didn't realize that we could do. So I would like to go forward with that.
Absolutely, and that is precisely what we are going to do. We're going to put out the address, a telephone number of the Office of the Governor, and that way those who want to help write how upset we are with not getting accountability or an arrest from these two officers that took the life of a beloved father, community advocate.
They're correctional officers. Okay, well, here's what it is. Marion County, she's a nurse. The other, Michael Costello, he's a correctional officer. And jail, for clarity. They're both employees of the regional jail.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you asked for information on the state of West Virginia because and that's part of the problem here. Because if Marion County and Joseph Costello were arrested, they would happen to be housed in the same jail in which they were employees. Isn't that an ironic twist of fate? But the law says that that's supposed to happen. But that didn't happen. But the law says that that's supposed to happen. And they're supposed to lose their house. They're not supposed to still be having their jobs. Okay. Now they might not go down for life without mercy, but according to the facts, and we haven't got the autopsy report back. But I say we don't need an autopsy report, but if it comes back saying he was shot in the back, that's bad news. Even the prosecutor, that's bad news. That throws everything they said down the drain. But I don't know much more about that because we're waiting on that. But really, they're waiting on that. We got it.
Oh yeah, they know they're in the wrong. That's why it's delayed and denied. We've seen this all too many times. They will drag out the investigation for about a year or two, if more. There's no pressure applied. But this, unfortunately, we're not going to allow this to happen. And we definitely want to be involved 1,000%. Doesn't matter what state you are. We have many of our Black Power brothers online. And we're actually going to do a roll call. So if you can, give a shout out. You're live on Black Power Radio. And we are on a new network, Busy One Radio. So we'll give a shout out to Busy One, Barry and Ace that's allowing us on that platform. quick shout out and show some love for Precious Echols and Brother John Kemet Shabazz.
Yes, ma'am.
Good job.
Black power, black power. Brother John Kemet Shabazz, Sister Precious, appreciate y'all coming on. And well, whatever way we can help, we'll be there. Just call, give us an advance notice so we can get some boots on the ground down there. Like you say, I don't know about being nice to them, though, and calm and all that, because, I mean, shaking them up means, you know, shaking them up don't mean, hello, it means, God damn it, open this motherfucking door. Excuse me, lady. I just said it like that to be, make a point. But it's like, we want to let Jim Justice know that we coming for justice. Hey, he can keep up with Groundhog Day, but he can't cancel this. And it would seem that they know already. So just like you say, you got to put the screws to them in order to get justice. No. And I always say what's good for the goose is good for the gander, but just like the Sheik Imam Akbar said, it's a double standard, you know? It's like, it all depends on the discretion of the officer, that type thing, you know? So, but I will say that they make the laws and they got to stand by them. Therefore, if we win, we can prove them wrong. We got to do it all the way, you know? And show their dirty draws in public so that everybody will see that they're hiding their hand. They want to throw a rock and hide their hand. Or in this case, Jim Justice don't want they don't want to come down on the good old boys, you know, but he don't have to, you know, because once we got, you know, enough proof, enough footage, it's like, yo, you don't have to do to them what you do to us, you know. But of course they're not going. They're trying to even change in D.C. The laws. The laws were in the hands of the people to determine how much time you get on certain laws, and they're changing that. They're changing it to whatever the judge decides. So it's truly going to be like Jim Crow, you know, or Sir Vito, when he vetoed everything. As a matter of fact, that Sir Vito, that would be when Lincoln died, his predecessor take over with another Johnson, Andrew Johnson, and he vetoed everything that Lincoln did, and therefore he even made a clause that you would have to wait like 3 years and your 19th birthday or 18th birthday or 21st birthday or something like that, then you would be made free. So our Emancipation Proclamation came in 3 years late, you know, so we had to think about that. So we're celebrating Juneteenth, but if we really want to look at it, we were still slaves. And then over here, with these nice folks over here, they nice enough to make us contraband property. Don't forget that word, contraband property. Look it up. And when you go and see black folks, you want to see black slaves that escaped to the Union, and as long as we stayed over there with the Union, we was fine. But if we got caught on one of them back trails by those slave catchers in West Virginia, at that, we talking about the Harper's Ferry insurrection and that's why I say there's always going to be some. If we just pay attention now, we got allies everywhere, you know, because John Brown just wasn't having that shit. Just want to say that. About to people, I just want to end on that. Well, this time around, we don't have to. We don't have to beg for justice. It's right there in plain black and white. You just have to use their laws against them and for our benefit for a change, you know?
That's exactly what we finna do. Thank you so much, Minister of Defense, Black Lightning. All right, you on the queue.
Let's put out the $77 so that we can get to the black line.
All right, power to the people. Black Power Radio, you're live.
It's about the same story, which was about his back experience and hands. Okay, above my losing their loved one. Okay, and I understand the brother's angry, right? But it don't. You get weak when you're strong, and you make them think that you are strong when you are. And this situation right here is boycott all those business there.
All right.
Videos. Let us learn from the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955. And then all the public records that you got on this bastard that went there and murdered this young.
Brother Shabazz, you are on the table. Brother Shabazz, let's redo that one more time because we want to hear everything that you got to say.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay. Boycott the businesses. I own businesses for essential goods and services. Keep it up in there. Experience and ads, to come up more with this as we're doing with the Shreveport situation.
You're in the matrix, my brother. You might want to move your location or check your headphones or something, but you're in the matrix bad.
All right, power to the people. Anyone else want to give a shout out? You're live on Black Power Radio.
There ain't no such truth, but you mentioned that one of those times we talked that maybe we should reach out Roland Moore. I think that was it mentioned that, right?
Absolutely.
I like Roland. When I say I like Roland, he has a broad audience. Right? So I think that's him. There are other commentators out there, but him off the top of thinking about him. But we still have to get an attorney to be able to protect the rule. And so, as I mentioned earlier, that we have challenged the new judge to appoint an attorney and issue a transcript of the May 22nd hearing, or recuse himself for bias, like the judge did. Which I think that's a bold move. But I think we have some standing to stand on in demanding that he appoint an attorney. And if he doesn't, he's biased.
Can you give us a timeline, Brother John, and for those who may have what currently has happened, any hearings for these two, Costello and Chacon?
They haven't been arrested since it occurred in July 30th of 2023. They have some concern because I know state law, and in this state, they weren't arrested, but one person was detained, or they both were detained. But I have a problem with that because they may try to say that they're immune from prosecution because there's been a year. That's why last you see, I found the application for access to the grand jury in April 1st. Asked for a June presentation, giving them enough time to make a decision. They've had enough time to make a decision. They played the layover game, and we didn't get it. Okay, so we have a hearing set up, part 2 hearing set up for August the 2nd. Okay, it's grand jury in that county over there isn't until October. So, but again, we've asked the judge to appoint counsel. So we're looking for an appointment of counsel between now and preparation of that August 2nd thing. If we don't get it, I'm not going over and telling them, I'm repeating myself by telling them that enough is on the record already. And in the meantime, we're also waiting on the autopsy report, which is expected this month.
Okay.
You hear what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Let me say one other thing, too, real quickly. There's another case the QUANTEZ BURKS case that will be down this other portion of the state where a black man was killed at the regional jail by 6 guards. That case is online. That case, he was killed in March of 2022. That case is private, as I understand, June 17th, because I've been in touch with those people. Another total different case, but a case dealing with correctional employees. And because I was defending the Echols family in this case, I reached out to the family of QUANTEZ BURKS and found out that case of buck breaking. Big lights and it beat him to death. Okay. And tonight is Charles Echols' third case. But we want to also remember the BURKS family over QUANTEZ BURKS down in the southern portion of the state. Yes. And really, I have a social justice. I keep an eye on that case. They came in and they arrested those people that did that to them. Okay, the family was able. I'll give you a little insight on that case, so you know. In the QUANTEZ BURKS case, the family was able to do an independent autopsy of the body. The coroner told the family to do it. Once they did it, the coroner they made arrests of the jail officers. But prior to that, the examination that was done by the state determined I had a heart attack, but he omitted the fact that that caused the heart attack. You understand what I'm saying? They had to get a separate autopsy in order to be able to get that out. Once that came out, there was immediate arrest. Feds came in, took the case. They arrested them. They're still in jail. Begging to get out of jail. So, yeah. So people need to know about that case. Especially people that don't know that by standing up and putting things on the record, you can make justice. Okay?
Have a video. Let's take a look at the QUANTEZ BURKS case. Second.
Yeah, it's a terrible case.
They want to watch police video inside of a Beckley Police Department cruiser after the man's arrest. QUANTEZ BURKS was arrested on February 28, 2022 for allegedly firing a gun into the air during an argument with one of his tenants and for obstructing an officer during his arrest, shown here on a bystander's video. He died on March 1st of that year within hours of entering the Southern Regional Jail in Beaver. The last time his family saw him was when he was being arrested. When his fiancée, Latasha Williams, called the magistrate's office to ask about BURKS' bond, that's when she was told he was dead.
We're told the West Virginia Medical Examiner's Office ruled BURKS' dad died of heart disease at the jail, but after recently viewing photographs of his body taken at a Beckley funeral home, his mother says police video could help the family answer questions about severe injuries to his body. 1590's reporter Jessica Ferris was with the family, and we want to caution you, the images you're about to see are graphic.
We were there during the anxious moments when the BURKS family saw the pictures of BURKS' body for the first time. We can't show all of the photos because most are too graphic, showing multiple bruises on his face and head. These pictures show gaping wounds on both knees and a series of uniform lacerations on top of his head.
Broke my heart. And the only thing they want to say was natural causes. Show me one thing in here was natural causes.
We had to have a scarf and a do-rag on, and we also had to put a hat on. His hands were messed up too, and he had to have gloves on him.
QUANTEZ BURKS was at Southern Regional Jail under 24 hours when he died unexpectedly on March 1st, 2022. His body was sent to the West Virginia Medical Examiner's Office, where we're told state pathologist ruled BURKS died of heart disease, a natural death. But when state officials sent the body to a Beckley funeral home, the funeral director didn't immediately embalm the body. Instead, he photographed the body and urged BURKS' family to get a second autopsy. The family paid for well-known pathologist Cyril Wecht to perform the second autopsy. The private autopsy shows BURKS' wrists were bruised and broken, but doesn't mention defensive marks. His family believes he was beaten while wearing handcuffs.
And so, QUANTEZ BURKS, tell us a little bit about what the update with this well.
I was in touch with that family. Okay. And, Kimberly Burks, and I believe that the wife and the mother have been talking and getting information on that case. That they were able to get an outside activist to help them from the state of North Carolina, Reverend, I'm gonna say his name because he hadn't told me not to. Reverend Barber. He came in and gathered a broad, usually Christian church, gathered a broad, diverse group of people, and they did a rally down there in support of QUANTEZ and others at the regional jail. So pressure was put. Lucky they had enough money to get an outside autopsy done. Okay. Because a lot of people don't have enough money to do that, or they don't do that. It made the difference.
Yes.
Right now, they're scheduled for trial. Kimberly Burks, I asked her, I keep in touch with her. She's one of my Facebook friends. I think I also have her phone number. She says they're scheduled for trial June 17th, which that's coming up.
That's
so
right.
Keep an eye on that, because they are in hot water in the bed to get out of jail. This is not funny, right? I mean, it's not funny about them doing the killing. It's funny that these guards are now in jail. These correctional officers, them to death. They're being tortured. Imagine that happening to you. They've been disgraced.
As they should. As they should.
Case real closely, right? Take some time to check it out. I mean, I chuckle about that aspect of it, that they're now crying out for mercy, whining. You beat the man to death. You know, never forget. You beat the man to death. You didn't have to do that. Just like Charles Duddy up here in France. He's not on. They could have held guns on him and called the police. You got a problem with him.
That's right. So we got to remember, though, where law enforcement derived from. As we say, they originated as slave catchers. So as they formed into sheriffs, LAPD, highway patrol, whatever division of correctional facilities, probation officers, whatever their division is, they derive from a group of organized, elected people to catch runaway slaves back in the 1790s. This is why a lot of us need to know the history of why they don't need an excuse to carry on their treacherous tradition. And so we've got to have a way to police ourselves. We've got to have alternatives where we don't have to have them at all in our presence, if not needed. What do you think about that?
Well, some ideas that we do have that I've seen are, for instance, this state has the West Virginia Code 6121, I believe. It's referred to as the hate crimes law, okay? Which is a county case where a young black man was doing drugs and having interracial sex with two white boys. They turned around and killed him, ran him over with a truck. We turned around, went to the Independence Day Parade. This is July 4th, 2020. The name of the case is J.R. Warren. The feds came to examination. They said it wasn't a hate crime. One of my good friends, he's dead with us. He's dead now, but his name was John Edward White. He bucked that and got out with a sign. I have to tell this story because his story is a story of how we got the hate crimes law that came into effect. Somebody had to die. But this kid was a gay black man having sex with white boys out here in Grand Canyon. And feds come in and say, no, my man Eddie stands in front of the courthouse, and other people start coming, people from the community, they start endorsing him. He's not out there standing by himself no more. 5, 6 people, then they had to hold a rally. It catches on, and it finally gets to the legislator, and new legislation is put forth. However, that legislation stayed on not been used. And we were the first one to use it, thanks to the work of the movement. In 2007, we were, through the help of a law professor up at WVU that I linked into the movement, Professor Judith Scully. She noted that West Virginia already has a crime law that hasn't been used, and let the national know. And so we used that law and was successful. But we also, let me say that, we had the law, we had the facts in the law, but we also had to have a national march down in Charleston back in November 3rd of 2007 in support of Maine Williams. And by January, the prosecutor had changed up and said we're going to prosecute for hate crime. Took all of the stuff that happened. Okay? So we have a pre-existing formula that works, that has worked already. Okay? Okay, now I just want to put that out. Okay? It ain't like we ain't did some stuff that made it happen. I say it happened, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Right.
So we can all they went to prison and they did long sentences. Okay? And the national made it happen because people in the state, they didn't have enough juice by themselves. Did you hear what I said? We needed outside, and they came at that time. I seen something that I never thought I'd ever seen before. And I was told you'd see something you never thought you'd see before. I haven't seen anything quite like it since. Okay.
I know that's right. All right, do we have anyone to chime in? Hey, Crazy Horse, thank you for chiming in. National Chairman, did we want to round off? And before we do so, Black Power, we do want to, those who want to show support for the Echols family, would like to write to Governor Jim Justice and the atrocities, not only in the Echols case, but QUANTEZ, as we just heard, as well in BURKS case. The address is 1900 Kanakawa Boulevard, East Charleston, West Virginia, 5305. Again, 1900 Kanakawa Boulevard, East Charleston, West Virginia, 25305. Or if you want to call in and let them know that they would like to see justice for Charles Duddy Echols, you can call 304-558-2000. That's 304-558-2000. West Virginia, you're on notice. And we're going to make sure that not another case like this transpires. So we thank Precious Echols for being here, the daughter of Charles Echols, and the advocate John Kemet Shabazz, who has been fighting for justice for the family as well. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
National Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. We at Black Power Radio have many cases over the years that dated back, and the brother, our elder John Kemet Shabazz, we date back really to the 80s, the times that he was behind the wall, come from behind the wall to defend the cause of we the people. And he's a phenomenal individual that I've always had the pleasure to team up with to get something done, to move something forward for we the people. We didn't have 100 armed guards, but we did have the self-determination, the ma'at, as he explained. And we use it's not ma'at, it's not kujikajalia, it's not umoja, until you use it skillfully and effectively against your opposition. Comes to study these principles. You waste your time celebrating Kwanzaa, going out for the principles, going to Egypt and to keep alive. If you're not going to use the research and the information and your self-discovery, if you don't utilize that skillfully and effectively against your open enemy, it's because you are lost. It's not because they are lost. They are doing their job to be the masters of deception, to be your fulfillment decoy, to take liberties with your person and your children. you have to be the man and the righteous woman that has been talked about in the book. It's not any make-believe, it's the real talk. So we must stand against the opposition, and we must unite in the Umoja principle that you found in Kemetic science, you found it in the QUANTEZ, you found it in the Swahili word to mean the unity, our universality and our unity. The Tawheed is unity in Al-Quran, and just let's get together and just say in plain English, you need to give to brothers and sisters, make a mock divine universal brotherhood or sisterhood, that we can check these bastards in the midst of a very peculiar brand of iniquity at this hour. But it's the same iniquity that, as the brother said, Andrew Johnson stood on it to pick up Jim Crow. He made that a made up make-believe thing, 1,000,000,000%. And the black activists, the black scientists, the black historians, the black investigators, the black investigative reporters, the black historical investigative reporters are not clever enough to undo the riddle of Jim Crow. And that leaves a lot to be desired, brothers. You're not clever enough to put that riddle and come back and say, in a full and a complete and entire myth. That's just a cliche and a myth that was created to keep you in a brand of enslavement. Ain't no Jim Crow. You've been all over the world. Never met no Crow named Jim. It was specifically a white racist man took over behind Abraham Lincoln and vetoed the entire Emancipation Proclamation. That's not a mystery, brothers and sisters. And that was reenacted by Orange Toupee guy Donald J. Trump. Is the social, political, the spiritual, and the physical reincarnation of Andrew Johnson is found in the person of Donald Trump. Unless you want to say it's 45.5, or the Orange Toupee guy, or Donald the Duck. But it's the same individual. Not any new stuff in the game. It's the same, just hanging on a different shingle. You have to be clever enough to spot it and point it out, expose it, and then check them in that brand of iniquity. If you don't do it, you are absolutely not on your job. You are not a modern day activist, and you are not a modern day freedom fighter. If you don't check them, but what we just did, what I just did right there. That's right, go on down, boil the fat off, and you find that Africa is just another way to co-sign on the Jim. You imagine Africa, Jim Crow, Rhodesia, all of that the same vernacular. It's trying to superimpose something over on your intelligence. That's real, brothers and sisters. Jim Crow, Rhodesia over Zimbabwe, and what was the other one we had? We had one more. Combatant. I mean, weapons of mass destruction, the same stuff, brothers and sisters. Just cliches that are designed to be shadows of deception, and you will fulfill the decoy. Just have a different spin for like a combatant or a prisoner of war. The axis of evil. What is the axis of evil? All types of cliches just developed just to keep you from going to be a true freedom fighter, to help our people get back up and get back on the horse and ride. I don't want to prolong off the long, but just to say a few things that would encourage you to get on your A game at this hour and fight like hell against the opposition. And Bob Marley said it best. Please, please, please. As to say never, never again. And please, don't give up the fight. Bye-bye. Peace be unto your powdered people.
Thank you, Ashe.
Big boss. Like the chime in?
Truth Bey.
Yes.
We have Cash App for Souls for Justice. For those people that would like to contribute. Now, in order to bring an activist to do this press conference, we do have to raise like $1,500. Okay. the specific act of this in. But so one of the cash, or you can cash app Souls for Justice. We'll acknowledge it. Also, I'm scheduled to do a Juneteenth, and I'm scheduled to do a Juneteenth. That's Saturday, June 15th, here at White Park. So I'll just want to put that out there too as well.
Yes, sir. Can you tell us a little bit about Souls for Justice?
Yeah, Souls for Justice is Souls for Justice is the outgrowth of the work that we've been doing at WV Black Community Coalition. And what we did when the murder occurred, I was operating up under WV Black Community Coalition since 2007. I had been trying to get some of my Morris brothers since 2009. I got my ID at that time, and others came on. So we put together like a little Morris council here in this area, the Moors of Morgantown. I had been dialoguing with them. I tried to get them to move with me on several previous other occasions, and every time I tried it, I just keep it real. Every time I an assignment, try to get them.
Sorry about that. Yes, sir.
But so because of that, an issue with the word black came up. They wouldn't come on because they wouldn't come on with the work that I was doing in Black Community Coalition. I started a new movement, Souls for Justice, and told them to their faces, you're a part of it whether you want to. I spent 7 years with you in a Black conscious study group. I'm 10 years older than you. I spent 10 years with these guys, 7, okay? They were younger than what I am. I went back and got them and said, I'm gonna make you, I said, okay. They had always been telling me, we don't want to be a part of your black power stuff you're doing. You're doing hate whitey, and that's what I got. I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. So I got the idea I'm gonna do Souls for Justice. Also, people that supported Duddy. There was some non-black people up in there. It was a diverse group. I didn't do it specifically to be able to get non-whites, non-black support, but I did it specifically to get my Moorish brothers on, and they still haven't come on board. I hear what I'm saying, but I did it specifically to get them, okay, to tell them, look, I want to include you whether you like it or not, and we can go ahead on and do it anyway, okay, so that's where we're at. We did the petition in October of 2023, and that formation, it's a formation that emerges out of the WV Black Coalition. That's what it really is. The Juneteenth comes out of WV Black Coalition. Okay? Both of those formations come out of Black Community Coalition. But black people scared of being black.
Right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the word black as well, because we have a huge movement called the reparations movement, restitution as well. And later on towards the end, we will discuss Senate bills that have been passed and going through the Assembly bill in California, Senate Bill 1403, 1331, and 1050, and creating the Freedmen's Bureau Agency, as well as returning property back to families descendants of child slavery. So there are a lot of good news that we're going to give you an update towards the last hour of Black Power Radio. But before I want to give some closing remarks on what, again, we want to highlight for the Charles Echols III advocacy. So the next meeting, the next court hearing will be set August 2nd. August 2nd. And at what courthouse and how we can garnish support for you, your Cash App as well, and how people there in person to support you as well.
I gave you my Cash App, I'm gonna give it to you again, okay? Are you ready?
Souls for Justice, yes.
Yes, Souls for Justice. How can you support us? One of the ways that you can support us is that, just like you wrote, you continue to put pressure on the prosecutor. We have his direct phone number. His prosecutor is Jeffrey Freeman. should be making an arrest. How come you're not making an arrest in this case? What's going on?
I tell you, God has a funny way with these names, sir. You have your governor that's named Justice, and you got the prosecutor named Freeman. If it doesn't tell you, let's do something now, family, come on.
This the grandfather's name is Gary Freeman. Person, grandfather. I asked him when you guys were related. You know, with right, and of that we're still living up under the legacy of the good and the bad. But some of the bad is that you know the history that we received from 1619. I told you I'm a Kemet. I was born again, so I go beyond 1619. I don't stay there.
Right.
Every civilization gives us, and for the Moors that talk stuff about being black, Kemet is black, and which predates Moorish civilization. It's not to negate anything that the Moors did, but they were an extension of Nile Valley civilization.
We have to be proud to be black. It's a power, but legally, we have a nationality in order for us to get reparations. And again, we don't want to take away who we are. We are black and power. That's what we do. That's what we live. That's how we are internally. But again, we have to start doing things legally and put pen to paper and start putting liens on these oppressors, started really taking away and putting charters on them as well, and create our own laws. This law, Supreme Law Constitution since 1776, was a constitution that was created while we were property. So how in the world can we, as a certain demographic of groups, as they call African American, abide by a law in which people weren't even considered human? And so this is the tradition that they're continuing, specifically starting in Virginia, 1619, West Virginia, right next door. And so it's freedom fighters like you, a national chairman, and many others, crazy ones. We got many of our revolutionaries out there that are fighting the good fight, that are waking up our people. Be conscious in this battle, Black family. We got to be conscious. It's not about titles or anything. It's really about putting accountability and getting justice for our people. It's freedom or death. Freedom or death. So, Ms. Precious Echols, if you'd like to chime in on your thoughts again, how we can help in this, and what would you like to see for the family?
Yes. I think one of the biggest ideas I'm having right now is with the protest. I really want to, if there's any type of ideas or anything you all may have to make it, more known, that would be helpful to me.
Yes, is there a particular location of where you're going to have the protest?
I think, John, were you still thinking the courthouse, or was it going to be somewhere else?
I think the courthouse would be an ideal location where you.
David Courthouse? Yes, definitely. Where it all begins. Should be everything great.
One day, they could look out of the window and see people out there. Yeah, let's see. This is just my perspective, from what I've seen be successful in the past. Now, he may harden his heart and be like Pharaoh in the book of Exodus. And you know what? There. Okay? Because I believe we have that kind of energy on our side. Okay? And you harden your heart against this, right? And this is the right thing, you're going to catch. You're going to catch them curses. Okay?
Right.
So we just have to make it. We just have to make them do the right. It's a shame that you got to make them do the right thing, but he has to look out there and see the numbers and the important, responsible people that we haven't gotten. Some of the, when I say people, I have to sigh a little bit, but a lot of times your local people that are considered responsible, they've been slow to show support. Some have, because you remember Reverend Dobbs was there at the rally. Reverend Riley was front of the courthouse. We have to find out what day would be best. I'd say first let us get an attorney. Okay. Again, we have that August 2nd date. Okay. That might be a date to work with. That might be a date to work with. I can file some paperwork and ask that your family be included in the in-camera here. The last time I did that, they just ignored me, and we got there, and it was biased. But we put them on notice that the first hearing was biased. Okay? So, bottom line, Precious, and Sister Truth Bey, asking for demanding the appointment of counsel, and if counsel is not appointed, we're asking that the judge disqualify himself for bias. Counsel is just that important because of the history of bias. Bias in the investigation, bias in the prosecution, bias from the judge that he admitted by disqualifying himself. So I think we're on pretty good ground. We're on pretty good ground. He just has to look out there and see the numbers. Okay? That's what's missing. The numbers and the important people in the state that jump on board with statewide, meaning this is in all the statewide newspapers, all the statewide channels. That's what's missing.
And so the courthouse, Marion Courthouse, that's where you guys will be, 219 Adams Street?
Yeah, that's where that location is.
All right. So if anyone would like to support, if you can, give a, go ahead, brother, sir.
I was going to say, stay on post with that August 2nd date. As I've said, if you don't appoint, go over there again and do that. There's enough already. I said everything needs to be said already.
That's it. Sure did. Sure did. So let's continue to show your support. And is there a contact information for those who want to reach out and lend their...
You can check out at Souls for Justice Grow on Facebook. We post updates on Souls for Justice on Facebook. Okay? Also, that petition is still out there too. The Justice for Duddy, the www.change.org. We're pretty close to that 500 goal. I think we're at 50. Okay. So we also have set up a GoFundMe page for Charles Duddy Echols. GoFundMe page for him. That GoFundMe is to bring in a national activist to the press conference. Okay. So I don't have access to any of that. That would be going specifically to him.
Right on. So we're going to actually pull that up as well. Precious, can you tell us what do you miss most about your father?
Yes, I really miss it's really a lot. I miss just his comfort, his lessons. He taught me, like I said, this still to me, I'm still going through the in denial stage, but just when I think about everything he's taught me mentally, I feel like it's helped me try to get through the most.
Well, we have the petition right here for those who are able to see the screen. Close to 500 signatures, so please show your support. Sign the petition. Sign the petition because we have just started the beginnings for justice for Charles Echols. And for those who are just familiarizing or tuning in, we're listening to Precious Echols, the daughter of Charles Echols III, who was killed on July 30th of 2023 at Whitehall, West Virginia, by correction officers. We'll just leave it at that. To this day, no arrests have been made. There has not been accountable for these Marion County correctional officers of the life of Charles Echols. And the council law as well was brought up, which is a bunch of nonsense, of delay and deny. And so we cannot continue to see this pattern of injustice going on. Just before you go, we also wanted to add to Lavelle Lane, as we mentioned before, there are many horror stories when it comes to police, the extreme. Michael Costello as one of them. But one of the people that we would like to definitely have cover this story is Richie from Black Atlantic Star.
Black male, tased while naked. The family wants answers. Let's put a full mass here.
This
was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The family of a man who died in police custody earlier this month. They are now demanding answers. Lavelle Lane, 29 years of age, was arrested the evening of October 2nd on a charge of walking in the roadway and was taken into custody by the Spartanburg County police, family members said. The family said also that Lane suffered from a mental illness, specifically schizophrenia. He died at the same facility the next day. Lane's father, Andy Reese, gave some more background. Here's the quote. He died, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they, talking about the jail officers, made rounds around 3:45, and they give food out in trays. The officer noticed that he, being Lane, was on his knees. They say they called his name, and they rushed the door open, and they called the nurse, but they got no response. And the nurse called EMS, and EMS came, and then he was dead. The family's now trying to find out exactly what happened while he was in custody. Reese says a representative from the Spartanburg County Coroner's Office told the family Lane had died, and that he was also tased by deputies. They tased him, and he was butt naked. Reese said of what happened to his son while in deputy's custody. While body cam video and security footage exists, so far, the sheriff's office, they have decided not to release any of it to the public. The sheriff's office denies the situation. Atlanta Black Star requested more information regarding Lay's son's death. And the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office denied their request, claiming since our office, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and the coroner's office still have active investigations, so they're hiding behind the investigative protocol. However, this department, this agency has released video before with an investigation not being concluded. Let's put up the pictures of those in charge. We have the sheriff. His name is Chuck Wright, and the detention service division commander. This is Major Chris Lasso. They are in charge. Buck stops with them. Once again, an individual who goes to jail when they should have gone to a hospital. So one, you have a microcosm, which is the actual incident, and it speaks to the biases inside of that department. And then you have the macrocosm, the general approach as it relates to healthcare, mental health in the United States of America. No way this man should have gone to a jail at all. Never should have had that trip happen in the first place. There's a mental health issue. But instead of dealing with it as such, they decided to treat him as a criminal. He was not. Now he's dead. And there are no answers for this family. We will continue to keep you updated as this develops. David, thoughts?
He was walking in the roadway.
Yes. He's pretty good.
Yes, any similarities to what we hear over and over again. Extreme violence, but what's even hurtful is the lack of accountability afterwards. That's why, Black family, we have to stand 10 toes down. We've got to do something different and mobilize in numbers. Support the Echols family. If you're in West Virginia, there's no excuse for you not to be there in person, August 2nd. But most importantly, I know that a great attorney will take this case. as well as many other cases that are justified. And so if somebody wants to support Souls for Justice one more time, Brother Shabazz, how can they show your support?
Show your support. You can check us out on the Facebook page, and you can also cash app us at $ Souls for Justice, all smashed together. FORA, Souls for Justice.
All right. Any closing remarks, Sister Precious? And thank you again for being on Black Power Radio.
I just wanted to say thank you as well for having us and helping us spread this awareness and to get everything out. It's appreciated a lot.
Absolutely. It is only the beginning.
You say she says your mother and your grandfather could possibly be coming on tomorrow, or they scheduled to come on tomorrow, correct?
Yes, they should be able to. I know my mom for sure. I'm trying to see about my grandpa if he can make it.
Okay.
Because it's going to be the same time, right? Will it be 8 o'clock?
That's right. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'd love to hear more concerning the Echols family. And if you have a case of injustice, well, please contact us on Black Power Radio. We definitely want to hear from you. We have to work together because there's a system that is against us, as Sister Onset said earlier. Gotta have that fire, but that fire has to be also placed in an organized fashion onto paper. And with that being said, National Chairman Sheik Imam Akbar.
I think he might be out.
Any updates in the meantime?
They had Black Panthers from all over the country. No one knew about it at all. They had machine guns, three-quarters rifles, grease guns, Lugans, 25 of them, all armed. And the chief policeman at the airport, when I arrived, they were there, right there at the steps. They said, you were violating the law. Yeah, we're violating the law. They were tired of our white and black leaders, Jackie and Martin and Bobby being killed. We're going to protect this man while he's there. And they didn't arrest one of them. Because they said if you arrest one, then someone's going to die. Because we are ready to kill. Black power means black dignity. Just as surely as you're proud to be white, we're proud to be black. Black is beautiful, baby. It's pretty. I always say to my brothers, I say, baby, don't worry about the white chicks. We got everything from chalk to charcoal in our own race. You see? Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful.